guys, this is Marissa from Imagine This, art and music studio for kids and adults, and today we are going over Art 1's lesson for the week. This week in Art 1, we are going to be making little yo-yo flowers. Not yo-yos the way that you're thinking, yo-yos as far as sewing goes, to make these cute little flowers. So as far as our supplies go, we are going to be supplying everything except for glue. So in your packet, you should have some green felt for the leaves, a pipe cleaner for the stem. We'll give you several different pieces of little fabric so you can choose your favorite. A sewing needle. Parents, these sewing needles are very safe. They're not that sharp at all. Depending on how old your child is or how experienced they are with sewing, if you have a regular needle that you want them to use, that's fine too, but we'll be providing one that is very dull, some string, a choice of buttons. So we'll be providing all of those things. The only things that you need are a pair of scissors and some Elmer's glue or some hot glue. Either of them work. The hot glue just works a little bit faster, where the Elmer's glue you need to wait. All right, let's get started. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to pick out a fabric to use. As mentioned earlier, you are going to be given a few different designs for you to choose your favorites. You can make one of these, you can make several. We'll be supplying a few different designs for you. The first thing that we want to do is we just want to trace a circle on here. So I just have this tape here, and you can decide if you want your circle to be really, really big or really, really small. When I made this flower, I circled it with this middle circle in here. So it turned out a pretty good size, but depending on how big or small you make your circle, it's going to affect the size of your flower. So I'm going to just outline this in pencil really quickly. You can find something circular to trace, or if you're really good at drawing circles by hand, you're welcome to do that as well. Now that I have that, I'm going to take my scissors and cut out this circle. So there's my circle, so I'm just going to place this off to the side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my needle, which again is included, as well as a string that is included. So this string that we give you will give you several different colors to choose from. They will already be pre-cut for you, so you don't have to worry about finding the correct length. So if you need mom and dad's help for this part, that's fine, but what we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half so that these two ends line up. Then we're just going to take one of the strings. We're going to find this little opening here on the needle. This is called the eye of the needle. We're going to stick it through one of the strings. We still want to keep it nice and in half, so I'm going to hold on to these two while I let the needle fall all the way to the other end. Once I have that with these two on the end here, I'm going to tie a knot. Again, you're welcome to ask mom or dad for help. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, just a little square knot will do. And then you might have a lot of extra string along here. That's okay. I'm going to cut off just a little bit of it. We still want a little bit of string to be on there, but not too much that it's going to be distracting from our sewing. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the side of the fabric that I like best. There's a front side where the colors are a little bit stronger and a duller side. It's up to you which one you want to be on the outside. I'm going to pick that the bright side is on the outside. So that being said, I'm going to turn it upside down, have the dull side facing up when I start my sewing. So we are going to be going in an up and down pattern along the edge here. So I'm going to take my needle. We don't want to go too far towards the edge because we don't want to rip accidentally on the outside, but we don't want to go too far in so that our flower gets too small. So I'm going to pick a good amount, just a little bit, tiny little bit inward, maybe just about a centimeter or two on the inside. I'm going to start, I'm going to poke outward, and I'm going to bring it all the way through. If this is your first time sewing, please be patient with yourself. It's a little tricky, but if you ask for help of mom and dad and follow along with this video, after a few tries, I know that you'll get it right. So now that we are on the other side, now instead of going down, we're going to go up. pull that string through. We don't want to pull it super tight quite yet. We want to keep that loose. So now that we've gone up, we're going to go back down, keeping the same distance away, a couple centimeters away from the edge. We're not going to pull it super tight, just really, really gently. Now that we've gone down, we're going to go back up. So you'll notice that I'm not wrapping my string around the edges. I'm just going up and down. I'm not looping around. So now that I've gone up, I'm going to go back down. So I'm going to give you guys an example of what not to do so that you can watch out for it. So I've just gone down, which means I want to go back up, right? So I'm going to show you what the wrong thing is to do. The wrong thing is to do 2 downs in a row. See how that's getting caught on the outside like this? That's not what we want, but it's okay if you make that mistake because it's really easy to find that same hole and to poke our needle back up. So you just want to keep really good track while you're doing this of going up and down. And please don't get frustrated. Sewing for the first time or even the second or third time can be really difficult. So take your time, have your mom and dad help you until you get it right. So I'm going to take the next little bit and just go really, really fast and finish this circle so that you don't have to spend so much time watching me do this. But the trick is just to remember to go up and down and up and down. Not to do up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Keep track of what you're doing. I'm just here at the end of my yo-yo. I've almost gone all the way across. What we want to do before we do the last stitch is we want to make sure that it's folded inward, like a little bowl in your hand. So if it's folded outward like this, almost looking like an umbrella, you just want to puff that in so that it looks like a bowl in your hand. So I'm going to do my last stitch, which is down. I'm going to keep it like a bowl. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to gently pull. Let me move it so you can see. I'm going to gently pull the string so that it bundles up like this. So it almost looks like a little sack. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to fluff out these edges. And I'm going to force the middle part of this down so that it starts to look a little bit more like a flower, just like this. In order for this to stay the way that it is, I'm going to hold it down and I'm going to go up and down with my needle sewing this. So this is the tricky part with these dull needles. It's a little bit hard to get through these thicker parts, so if you need to ask help from mom and dad for this, that's totally fine. So I've gone up and down in here for a few times, and now it's holding out pretty nicely on its own without having to squish it. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to pick out a button that we want to match it with. So you will be getting several different colored buttons of different sizes. You can choose if you want to do a big button or a small button, whatever color you want. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my button here. What we're going to do next is we are going to sew this button on by going up and down through the little holes in here that we can see with our needle, okay? So I'm going to slide my button through my needle and through the thread. And then I'm going to keep track of going up and down. And I'm going to go down through the second hole, through the fabric. I'm going to go up and down just a few different times. So I've sewn my button on here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this upside down. I'm going to grab my scissors, and I'm going to cut off so that I have still about an inch of string left on the back side. Then I'm going to tie a couple of knots so that our button doesn't fall out. Once I have the knot in there, I can take the extra string and cut that right off. So now we have our little yo-yo. It's not perfect, and that's okay because it adds a little bit of character to it, but I think it's a really cute little flower. So now that we've done the flower part, we're going to put this aside and we are going to start putting together the stem and the leaves. So I'm going to grab my stem, and you can choose if you want your stem to be really, really long. I decided to fold mine in half so that it would be a little bit stronger to hold up the top of the flower. And then from here, you can use your Elmer's glue or your hot glue if you have it, and just go ahead and glue your flower on top right there. While that's drying, I'm going to pick up some of this fabric and cut out a leaf shape. You can draw it out first if you'd like. And then my last step is to glue this on. So I'm going to set this aside to dry so it doesn't fall off when I pick it up, but when you're finished, you'll have a couple of cute little flowers that you sewed yourself. Hope you guys have fun being creative, and please send in some photos for us to see. Bye!